Hello, and welcome to the December 6th Faculty Senate meeting. We will come to order. It looks like we have a quorum. Just a note of business, please accept your panelist invite if you're online as a senator to be moved over so we have an accurate count. Thank you. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes from our November 8th Senate meeting. They have been distributed as an annex to your agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from the September meeting? Hearing and seeing none, the minutes from the November meeting are approved as written. Next, we're going to hear from Lori Ogden. She will be sharing the report for Robin Hissam, Chair of the Curriculum Committee.
Hey, Ashley, thank you. We have 3 for approval items in annexes 1, 2, and 3, and 2 for information items. The first is a new minor in therapeutic art, and the second is a rubric that was passed by the committee for evaluating course reviews. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, so we are going to bundle Annex 1, 2, and 3 together for a vote. All those in favor of approving Annex 1, 2, and 3, please say aye or raise your hand if you're online. Scott, can you see the vote on yours? Scott. Okay. All right. 74. Okay. Please clear your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Okay. The ayes have it. Lori, you also have 2 approval items?
2 for information.
2 information items, sorry.
Yeah, the first is a new minor in therapeutic art, and the second is a rubric that the committee passed to use for course reviews.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we'll hear, I'm sorry, just a second. Julie, I can't see any of the hands or the information on the. Sorry, I apologize. While we're working that out, we'll hear from the Committee on Committee Chair, Anne Marie Hibbert.
Hello, I'm Anne Marie from Chambers College. So I have 1 approval item. Annex 5, a change to the Academic Technology Committee, and 1 change to the Sustainability Committee. I'm happy to take any questions.
We may have to move this one over to the, as a panelist. So you may have to do so.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of Annex 5, please raise your hand or say aye. Okay. Okay, please lower your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Great. Great, thank you. The ayes have it. Eric, it came up, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. We were doing a little technical piece. Thank you, Anne Marie. So before we move to the resolution, I would like to provide some additional context and guidance on how we will proceed. On December 1st, faculty members drafted a resolution on administration and presented it to me via email. Due to the nature of the resolution, I call it an executive meeting. At this time, the executive committee agreed to place the resolution on the agenda. Please note that the executive committee did not vote on the actual resolution, but just agreed to place it on the agenda. I shared the resolution prior to the Senate meeting, allowing senators to gather feedback from their constituencies prior to voting. Just a reminder that the Faculty Senate is a body that represents units throughout the university. This is based on Article 1.1 and Article 1.2 of our Constitution. This means that all members of the faculty can reach out to ensure unit perspectives are represented. In my role as the Faculty Senate Chair, I am to ensure we follow the Faculty Constitution and Robert's Rules of Order. Most importantly, my role is to provide an opportunity for faculty voice to be shared, all viewpoints. After the resolution on administration is presented, we will open up the floor to comments and questions. We will start with the participants in the room and then move to the participants in the virtual format. Here are a few ground rules for the discussion. If you are not a senator, you will need to be recognized by a senator to speak. All speakers will have 2 minutes to speak and only be allowed to speak twice on the resolution presented. If you are a virtual speaker, you will raise your hand, be called upon, and unmuted. As we have previously done in Senate meetings, when there are questions to administration, the president and the provost have an opportunity to respond. We will continue in that manner by accumulating some of your questions and providing 2 different points in time for President Gee and Provost Reed to respond. At the end, if there is a vote, we will be voting via Qualtrics. The email will be sent out to senators only and have 30 minutes to complete the vote. At that time, we will return to the meeting and announce the vote. I will now ask the person presenting the resolution to please unmute.
Is it now an appropriate time to present a motion to amend the resolution?
I think we have to present the motion as presented initially based on the agenda.
Okay. So then procedurally, this would be the time when I should give a brief overview, and then later on, there would be an opportunity to amend the resolution?
After the resolution is read.
Okay. So I should, oh, sorry. I'm not sure the procedures here, and I definitely do want to
Scott,
present a motion to amend.
Scott, this is Ann Lafaso.
Hi.
You can read the motion, and if you want, you can immediately move to amend.
Okay, so the motion as currently written and as was distributed says the following. Whereas the Reed administration has refused to institute a COVID vaccine mandate despite calls that they do so by an 85-15 vote of the faculty assembly, a joint WU Marshall Faculty Senate resolution, a 59%, 38% vote in favor of the vaccine mandate by the WU student body, and a formal 20-7 vote of the WU Student Government Association, even in the face of a record of thousands of members of the Mountaineer community testing positive for COVID-19 during the global pandemic, and the fact that WU already requires students to be vaccinated against several illnesses. Whereas the Reed administration has refused to engage in open, inclusive, systematic practices for hiring qualified candidates for its senior administrative team, including in units and positions that are as crucial for ensuring safe, respectful, and inclusive workplaces at the Provost Office, the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and Campus President. Whereas the Reed administration has failed to carry out transparent economic transformation processes that avail itself of the expertise of faculty, chairs, and directors, considers professional norms, respects the administrative time and effort spent on these mandated tasks, references the full scope of disciplines associated with other RLN universities, or is centered within the larger framework that clearly communicates the future vision of the university, the efficient allocation of resources therein, and why programs that are eliminated or of especially limited value. Whereas the Reed administration has failed to respect either professional norms or relevant academic qualifications and expertise when filling top-tier university positions, leaving it in a weakened position to effectively carry out its mission of respect to poor communication, implementation of initiatives damaging campus culture and morale, and inherently devaluing the credentials it is asking students to pay for, whereas the Reed administration has exhibited a pattern of failing to respect shared governance and working outside professional norms that has broad implications for campus climate, reputation of the university, and the university's commitment both to providing a high quality education and to carrying out first-rate scholarship. Be it resolved that the Faculty Senate of West Virginia University has no confidence in the E. Gordon V. Marianne Reed administration. What I would like to do, and I'll say this in terms of, I played an organizational role in this, partially tied to my leadership of the Faculty Welfare Committee. I should say the committee did not endorse this. I did not, we did not bring it up in the committee for a discussion of this kind, but given that position that I was in, I was getting a variety of comments and things. And so this is like mostly meant to be a resolution about shared governance. If we look back on the last week of media attention, the COVID issue is prioritized like nothing else. And while that is certainly a matter of concern to many at the university, that is not the, the overriding issue of this resolution. And so what I would like to make a motion to do would be to strike the first paragraph.
Scott, hang on. We have to approve that resolution. We have to have a second, a motion and a second to approve that resolution, and then you can move forward with a possible amendment. What? That's what the parliamentary said.
Anyone can second right now, and then Scott can move for an amendment.
And do we need to have a discussion?
No, not, we can't even discuss until we have a second.
We have to have a motion. A second in the motion. A second to the motion. For the resolution to be put on the agenda for us to discuss. We're moving to discuss this resolution on administration. Do I have a second? Okay, thank you. Okay, Scott, now you can move to amend the resolution. Thanks, Suzanne.
So from the, as I was saying, from the feedback, a lot of the discussion about this, especially beyond the university, seems to be prioritizing the COVID matter, which of course is a great concern, but it's not the central overriding concern of the resolution. And so therefore, I would like to see the motion amended to delete the COVID paragraph at the beginning and to move up from the bottom, the final whereas paragraph, since the matter is primarily and centrally a shared governance issue in a host of ways, and it's not simply a matter of COVID policies.
Yep. Scott, do you have that language? You can drop it into the chat so we can see it too.
Sure.
Second.
Okay. I emailed it to you earlier. Is there any possibility you can do that? I'm having trouble copying this for some reason.
Scott, I'm not working from my computer.
Sorry. me try a different way.
You would like to strike the first paragraph, is that correct?
Correct. And to move the final whereas up to the front.
Move the final whereas to the top. Scott is working on dropping that into the chat now. Okay, it's been dropped into the chat. We would need a second once it's dropped into the chat.
Brave guy, I gotta say, this guy's brave. Set out to kill the king. Utter kill the
Just a reminder, if you are online, please make sure that you mute unless you are speaking. Thank you. It's the first time being face to face is hard, right? It's easier when you can see everything online. Are you able to pull it up? Can you see it on your phones? Mhm. Thank you. Scott, we have some of it pulled up online. Yep. Okay, it looks like we have a second too. We can move to discussion. Again, we'll take people from inside the law school first, and then anyone that wishes to speak virtually, we will address you second. Is there anyone here? Okay, do I have anybody online? Yes, Heather, we're discussing the new resolution, the amended resolution. You're able to see the initial whether to amend. Sorry, I left out the word.
Natalie Corcoran, Eberly College. I'm just asking a question of clarification. This is on the motion to change the motion. That's what we'd be discussing, right? And then we'd vote on that. And then there would be a discussion of the motion itself. Am I getting that right?
We're voting on the motion to amend.
Yep.
So we're
Okay.
discussing the motion to amend, then we'll hold a vote on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any discussion? Victor?
No, I was just supporting the motion made. So I don't have any comments.
I'm sorry, Victor. Can you say that again?
I thought I was just doing a second of the motion.
You thought you were seconding. I'm sorry. Thank you. Looks like we have no other hands raised. All right. I'm sorry.
There are other hands that are raised.
Ralph, sorry.
Yes, I just had a question for the person who amended the motion. Is the first paragraph about the COVID mandate completely stricken in the amendment?
Yes, I believe so. Scott, is that correct?
Yeah, that was the implication. I mean, that was the meaning behind it, was that it seems that because it was placed first on the document, that that it kind of seemed to be driving discussion about everything. And it's certainly entirely fair. People just like want to consider that and however they would vote if we would vote like later on. It just seems it seemed like 95% of the conversation was really about that one paragraph. That it made more sense to sort of delete the paragraph. And then people can still take that in mind as they wish to in terms of any voting that occurs later on.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions or comments, we can go ahead and vote on amending the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just a moment, we're waiting for all the online votes to come in. Please remember that if you can only vote if you're a senator. So if you're in the attendees list and you are a senator, please ask to be moved over to a panelist. Otherwise, you are not able to vote. Thank you. Okay, we have 57. Please clear your hands. All those opposed? We have a majority vote. Okay, we have a majority vote. We will move forward. Okay. This is our time to discuss the amended motion. Any comments in the room? Questions? Any online? Scott? It's Scott. Yep.
I'll lower that. Thanks. So like I said, and like why I tried to kind of make this a bit simpler, and certainly don't mean to take away anything in terms of the import of that first paragraph. And like what that means to so many people. The last couple of years have been so trying and horrible for so many people. You know, we all know folks, who've like lost the people they love most, parents, grandparents, all that. I don't by any means mean to not respect what's occurred by asking for that paragraph to be deleted. But I did think it was kind of getting more attention and kind of took some of the discussion away from probably where it needs to be in terms of what this is more or less all about. And I would say, I want to kind of give any like newer senators background in case they don't know. And that the shared governance issues, the Senate tried to address those to an extent back in 2019 when President Gee appointed a new provost for the second time without any feedback from the university or the faculty senate. And at that point, several people in the faculty were most unhappy with that. It's not professional norms to do that. And so we brought up in the Senate a motion to create a committee to sort of see like where we fall compared to peer institutions. The Senate voted for that. Afterwards, the Senate Executive Committee killed that committee. And then we had to come back the following meeting and pass it again. And so that committee then was formed in 2019, and it had a representative from most every college on the campus. And what we found, like investigating our procedures compared to about 15 peer institutions, was that our shared governance position in terms of what the Senate was allowed to do, and basically the overall role of faculty at the institution is very, very, very limited compared to your average R1 university. And so that leaves us in a position where, especially when the administration is not especially open to working with faculty, in a precarious position. And that leaves us in a position where some people are very vulnerable individually. But of course, it also leaves the faculty in a situation where they're not always able to defend their programs and research and students in the same kind of way you would see at other institutions. And so that kind of background informs where this comes from. And a lot of this really, in terms of the timing of it, comes out of to an extent, it comes out of the first paragraph that was just deleted. The president's decision not to follow the overwhelming vote of the first faculty assembly in a decade. And that's to an extent played a major role in this conversation moving forward. But as that occurred, then it wound up taking in many other kinds of issues, which especially tied to past shared governance work and faculty welfare work. I heard from people all around the university, many kinds of things, which quite frankly, a lot of them aren't going to want to discuss publicly. They're not safe. Yeah.
We've hit the 2-minute mark.
May I be allowed one more minute?
One single sentence.
Okay. This is overall meant to be an attempt to restore shared governance at this institution, which is very much in need of it. Thanks.
Thank you. Bob, do you have a comment?
Yes. The faculty, I don't know, 2 presidents ago and about 15 years ago, did make a statement about a president's conduct. In that case, we had an unqualified person in terms of academic background and academic credentials. We had an administration which had engaged in conduct which seriously threatened the integrity and standing of this institution. And the faculty appropriately took its stand on it, and we were listened to. And I thought that was correct. And in fact, I signed one of the petitions that initiated that process. Here, I think we have, on the merits, I have found no difficulty whatsoever getting input as a faculty member. The administration has been completely open in its processes. And the fact that faculty might disagree with how particular issues are handled is not a grounds for expressing a lack of confidence. This is not a serious question. Faculty governance is extremely important, but faculty governance does not mean faculty über alles. And I think if we strike down this resolution, we will continue to have the participatory rights and the open administration that we've experienced so far. And I recommend voting no on the resolution. Thank you.
Okay, Stephanie?
Yes, my name is Stephanie Lorenz. I would like to make a motion that we table the discussion and recommend that the chair push towards faculty assembly.
Hey, Anne? I'm sorry. Anne, did you hear the recommendation?
Yes, we need a second, and this takes precedence if it's seconded.
We have a second in the room. Do we need a discussion, Anne?
Nope, it's not debatable, it's not amendable, we need to take a vote immediately. And if it's tabled, that means it means we'll have a discussion as to, all I heard was it wanted to be tabled, that means it must be something urgent to it was for assembly, so we will go immediately. If this is voted yes, we would go immediately into a discussion about whether or not to go to, was that faculty assembly? Is that what she wanted? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Then we would go into a discussion of whether this is more appropriately put before the entire assembly. We would then vote on that. If it's voted for, this would end that, and that's what we would do. If it's voted down, we would go back to the motion.
So we're voting on tabling this right now. That's the
Yeah.
vote, right?
Think of it as suspending our discussion so we can get to the discussion on whether or not to go to the assembly.
Do I have a second to table a discussion? I have a second online. Okay, so now we move into discussion about holding a university assembly, or if this is the appropriate space to vote.
No.
Sorry, I was just gonna skip the vote, apparently.
Yeah,
Sorry. We're gonna vote on the motion to table this. All those in favor say aye or raise your hand. '51 online. Please lower your hand. Please make sure you lower your hand for the next vote. Thank you. All those opposed? So we have 4 in the room. So we have 36, 37, 38, and then do we have a majority? Do we have a majority? Okay, we do not have a majority to table the conversation, so we will move forward. Okay. Parviz, do you have your hand raised? Okay, it looks like you just didn't put it down for the vote. We will continue our discussion. Anyone online? Stephanie?
Hi, I'm not sure that I can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Stefania, and I move to postpone this resolution to our next regular meeting.
Are you putting forward a motion to postpone the meeting to the January meeting?
Yes.
Do we have a second? It looks like I don't have a second, so we'll continue with our conversation. Sam?
Yeah, I would just add to what Bob said. My first faculty senate meeting ever was that meeting that he talked about where we took a no confidence vote in the then sitting president. And I supported that, voted positively for it. And I heard from a great deal of constituents which did as well. And I felt that was a very egregious and obvious violation of ethics in that case. And so I thought that that vote was warranted. And when I looked through these, as Bob said, I didn't really see anything that was egregious or obvious or that really raised this to a national level where it could harm our university. And do we have issues? Sure, we have issues. Everybody has issues. And we have worked and are working and will continue to work on those issues to try to improve things. But again, I don't see anything in there that, to me at least, really rises to the level of taking a no confidence vote. And I felt the resolution was a little bit myopic and somewhat misguided and short-sighted, and I cannot support it.
Marion?
Marion Armour Gemin, WVU Libraries. I feel that it sounds like quite a few people have issue with this administration, but I think that maybe the administration and these people and maybe some representatives from the faculty senate could have a discussion about this and maybe come to some kind of resolution, maybe come up with a solution of redress or better communication. That's kind of how I see it. I don't know what you all think.
Okay, Brent?
Sorry, I apologize. My camera's not working. I just wanted to ask a question. Was a list of grievances ever drawn up, given to the president, given to the provost, and a response elicited in a way that was formal, such as a written statement of grievance with an opportunity to respond?
The president is shaking his head no.
Was a similar list given to the provost?
The provost is shaking her head no and said no. Thorsten?
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to share my opinion on this. I've thought a lot about that, and being my first semester as a senator, this is my first, so please bear with me. I really believe in shared governance. I'm coming from an institution that was founded in the 70s in Germany as a reform university where students, faculty, and staff all had an equal voice. So I really believe in that principle. And it's the principle that the first university was founded almost 1,000 years ago, right? However, today universities are extremely more complex than they were back then. And leadership requires to make difficult decisions. And nowadays, a lot of these decisions are lose-lose. There's an extreme split in stakeholders' opinions. And as a flagship university, I think our leadership has to take a lot more input into consideration than just our faculty. Do I like that? Not always. But these decisions are often time sensitive, and we all have just limited information to make these decisions. So for me, and that's my personal opinion, but also talking to our stakeholders and constituents over the last few days, one of the most important aspects of leadership is the trust that the leadership has the best intention in mind. And I believe that is the case here. Do I personally agree with all the decisions? Absolutely not. But that's a different matter for me. So this resolution, and I think that was pointed out in the speakers before me. However, Scott pointed out a few more details that I appreciate. I just wanted to mention the former paragraph 2, which is still paragraph 2, I guess now. where the question of hiring practices was addressed. I had the opportunity to be on a dean search not too long ago. And in that search, there was no meddling or no push from administration. It was really committee driven, very transparent. And therefore I cannot confirm any of that, given that this is just like my limited experience there. But without more substantiation of these claims, I would not support this motion. Thank you.
Jean?
I'm just asking a question. I was serving on the Shared Governance Committee, and I've not heard anything from that. So what is the current status of that committee and any input that they may have that would shed light on all of these discussions, maybe within this resolution?
Dave Hauser, the chair of the Shared Governance Committee, is going to speak on.
Sure, it's Dave Hauser from Eberly. I was appointed chair of the governance committee over the summer, and unfortunately I've not been able to get it up and running. I've got a 2-year-old, and in the midst of COVID and all the rest of that, it's just been a little bit more difficult to get that moving. I had intentions over the Christmas break to sort of contact everybody and get it going. It's entirely my fault that sort of stalled out, but again, we're all in difficult times.
Hearing and seeing no discussion, do I have a motion to end the discussion and call a vote?
Second.
You want to speak? So before we go to a vote, I'm going to provide President Gee and Provost Reed an opportunity to share their thoughts.
Well, thank you very much. And I know that this is not an easy time for any of us to be dealing with all the matters that are in front of us, because it is a challenging time. But I might just note that 43 years ago, I entered into this building, not this particular part of it, but that was when I became dean of the law school, and some 41 years later, or 2 years later, president of the university. And so I've always had an immense appreciation and respect for this institution, and I have immense respect and appreciation for our faculty. I just want everyone to know that. I want you to hear that. I appreciate what you do. I value what you have been through. I value the opportunities that you have given to our students, and I value what we're doing as an institution. But and I appreciate the opportunities further to hear the concerns and share the perspectives. You know, it's not an easy time to be a faculty member. It's not an easy time to be a university president, as with all of the issues that we face. And for me, I have a number of constituents. Not only do I have faculty and staff and students, but I have our alumni and friends of the university. I have legislators and others who have particular views, and I have 1.8 million West Virginians. And I hear from them all the time, and they have very particular views about this institution. They love it. They want it to be great. They want us to be responsive, and they want us to hear their calls. And as you know, this state has very serious problems, and this institution represents one thing to every individual in this state. It represents hope. And that's what we have to keep as our polar star. So I love the university. I returned to the university because of the opportunity it gave me and because I wanted to make a difference. You know, at age 77, one should not be being a university president, actually. One should be doing something else. But I am here, but I want to make a difference in the life of this university. And I wanted to transform the university, and we have. Let me just give you a couple of examples. We have changed its culture. We have now moved very aggressively into the R1 status. 5 years ago, we were barely there, and now we are. I just talked to Fred King today. We are now solidly into the 90s, maybe even into the 80s, which means we have passed a lot of institutions. The university has received more external funding this year than ever in its history. And that in and of itself is a real achievement in the middle of a pandemic. And we transformed fundraising. When I came, our goal was to raise $750 million. We had stalled out at $600 million. I just said that's unacceptable. And we raised $1.3 billion, almost all of it, which went to faculty support and student support. The past 4 years have been the largest amount of money we have ever raised in the history of this university, each year more than the last year was $285 million is one example. We transformed enrollment and retention. I think that is a very important aspect of what we're about. If we do not have our students, and if we do not have retention, we lose our ability to really be competitive. And we have increased our graduation rates rather substantially. And we are transforming a partnership with our alumni association. They now are going to become great advocates for our institution. So I would just say to you that transformation is essential if we are to thrive in the coming years. So I'm proud that we have hired and retained a lot of great talent. We've hired world-class scholars, researchers, administrators, healthcare professionals, and we have lost some. Let's just be candid about it. We have lost some people. Hate to lose anyone. Hate to lose them if they leave for the wrong reason. But that's on me. And I'll do everything I possibly can to make certain that I continue to reach out and recruit and re-recruit and re-recruit. But the people that we have hired are talented. They have impeccable qualifications. They are changing the trajectory of this institution. So I understand that change is hard, but it is necessary. If we do not change, we will not survive. It is that simple. And I'm here to make us better. You are here to make us better. I mean, we're all here. Shared governance is about all of us sharing in responsibility. Academic freedom has academic responsibility. And we never talk about that latter part, but that is exactly what we should be talking about. And that's why Mary Ann Reed was my only choice for provost. It was alluded further that we didn't have a search. Indeed, we had wide consultation. And one of the reasons that kept coming back to me was the fact that Mary Ann was recognized among the deans and among our faculty as one of the best leaders we had. And by the way, I went with her, I went to see her receive the award as the best journalism dean in the country. Very rarely have we ever had anyone designated as the best in any category. And that was what I saw. So she is a change agent. She's tough. She takes no prisoners sometimes, I know that, but that's the type of leadership we need at this university. So Mary Ann, I'm going to turn it over to you, okay?
Thank you very much, President. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I know President Gee speaks from the heart. I speak from the heart, but I always have notes. I tell everyone I even read my own wedding vows, and that is seriously true. So I want to begin by acknowledging that this has been an incredibly stressful time for our WVU community. For faculty, certainly, but for everyone who has been on the front lines and behind the scenes doing the work of the university during the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. I know that many of you are tired, frustrated, anxious, and even angry. But in my humble opinion, I believe there are far more productive ways for faculty to share their concerns than through this resolution. But regardless of how we got here, we are here and we are in this moment. And I would like to take the opportunity, and I want to thank our leadership for giving us this opportunity to set the record straight in a couple of areas. I am, after all, a former journalist for whom accuracy was always my bread and butter. I'm not going to talk very much about COVID-19 since that has been struck from the record, other than to say, to remind our faculty that my office did a number of things to support faculty during the COVID-19 epidemic, including moving the majority of classes online, while providing accommodations last year for nearly every faculty member who said they couldn't be in the classroom for health or family reasons, automatically extending the tenure clock for junior faculty to ensure that the time involved in adapting to remote instruction didn't hurt their progress towards tenure and promotion, creating an emergency fund to help finance childcare for faculty and graduate students who demonstrated need, creating a parents discussion board with talent and culture to provide faculty and staff a forum to problem solve on childcare issues, which is something that was requested. And the list goes on and on. We did this, by the way, while listening to and partnering with Faculty Senate leadership. As President Gee has often stated, we meet regularly with Senate leadership, officially 2 to 3 times a month. Unofficially, I can't tell you how many times. We've talked by phone, and we do that to understand the concerns of our faculty and to identify ways to support our faculty while also ensuring that we're meeting the needs of our students. After all, that's why we're all here. Second, I am proud of the hiring that we were able to do during the COVID-19 crisis. I'm not going to go into detail about every individual that I hired in this forum, but I will say this. We did national searches for the majority of our permanent dean's positions, and we were fortunate to be able to hire outstanding leaders. Several of them are in this room today to show their support. In addition, we conducted internal university-wide searches for some leadership roles. We promoted others whose roles have expanded since the crisis. And in some instances, we made limited 2-year appointments to ensure there were no gaps in service or coverage. In short, we worked expeditiously to fill every vacancy we could to ensure that the academic operations of the university continue to run smoothly, even in the middle of the worst crisis that we have ever faced as a university. Third, I'm proud of our efforts to regularly communicate to our faculty about what we are doing and why through the pandemic and now, especially in relation to academic transformation. Through our academic transformation website, our meetings with Faculty Senate, deans, our Board of Governors, and others, we have outlined our first-year priorities, explained our data-driven process, and provided a timetable that we have closely followed. And through multiple committees and work groups, we have engaged faculty as much as possible in the transformation work, knowing that hard decisions can't always be made by consensus. Again, we've worked closely with our academic deans to inform our decision-making, and we gave our colleges the opportunity to make their case for retaining programs with small or declining enrollments. Have we done everything perfectly? Certainly not. Is there room for improvement? Certainly. Have we acted in ways that are unscrupulous, unethical, or untoward? Absolutely not. Both Gordon and I welcome your constructive feedback on the ways that we can do better. We've always had an open door policy, but some of you may be afraid or intimidated to meet with us. And I say to you, do not be. Because we want to know how we can make this university better. And I say that sincerely and from the heart. Finally, I want to say this. You may not like everything that we've done, But the leadership of WVU is deeply dedicated to the success of this institution and to the success of our faculty, staff, and students. WVU has been my academic home and my community for nearly 30 years as both a faculty member and an administrator. Yes, Gordon and I and our entire senior leadership team are responsible for leading this university and ensuring that we all thrive. But you know, leadership doesn't always come from the top. Every one of us can demonstrate leadership by speaking up for what we believe in, even if those views are unpopular. And I applaud those of you who had the courage to speak out today. We demonstrate leadership by making every effort to understand the bigger picture and by being respectful and forthright in our communications. We demonstrate leadership by acting in good faith with the best of intentions and toward the greater good. And that may require contributing to the organization in ways that go beyond our day-to-day assignment. It means digging in, reaching out, and working together to address the challenges and opportunities that we face as West Virginia's land-grant institution, and to position the university for success in what is a very challenging higher education environment. I have high hopes for WVU, and I believe the majority of you do as well. I welcome any of you to work with us to engage in the roll up your sleeves, boots on the ground, real work that will be required to move our university and our state forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Reed and President Gee. Okay, we had a second to end the discussion and call for the vote on the amended resolution. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Please say aye. To end the discussion and go to a vote. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, please lower your hands.
Ashley, may I be heard? It's Frankie.
I'm sorry.
Can another motion be made at this point to move to a full faculty assembly, or has that already been addressed and can't happen?
No, we already addressed that.
We had a motion to end discussion.
Yes, previously when Stephanie Lorenz called for that, it was not
right.
It was voted down.
Okay, and that's the only way we could move this to a faculty assembly. For a vote of the full faculty versus just a vote of the faculty senate. Is that correct?
Hang on just a second. I can't hear you. We were voting to table the discussion, and bundled in that was the university assembly.
Right now, we're voting on ending discussion. And so,
yes.
This is Natalie Sincorker, Everly College. And so I believe if you do not want to end the discussion because you want to bring forward another motion, then you would vote no to end the discussion.
We had an overwhelming vote to end the discussion. So we move forward. Anne, is that correct? So Frank,
yes.
Have a motion to go to a university assembly at this point.
No, if she wants to go to do that, she'd have to bring it, we have to finish this business, and she could bring that at a separate time. Probably not today, but.
So we would have to move with the petition. That's the way that you would have to proceed to call a university assembly. Correct.
Correct.
Did you hear that, Frankie?
I did, thank you.
Okay, so we can now call for a vote on the amended resolution. Nope. I thought we just voted on that. Okay. Robert and I, good friend.
Ashley, I just want to make sure we had 2/3.
We had over 80. We had 80 votes online and then approximately 12 or more here in person. Okay, so can I call for a vote to amend the resolution? On the resolution, I don't want to amend it. Yes, we're going to vote via Qualtrics. You have 30 minutes. The link will come into your senator. As a senator, you will only receive the link. And after the 30 minutes once it's closed, we will have 15 to 20 minutes to ensure that the people voting are actually senators. And then we will return and we can announce the vote.
Ashley, somebody is asking if the vote will be anonymous or not.
So the same way that the vaccine was voted, you will have to enter your name and your email address to ensure that we know that you are a senator. Scott Wayne and I, the chair-elect, will be the people that see that, possibly Judy Hamilton, who is the Faculty Senate Secretary, but those will be the only people that will be aware of the people that are voting. Is there any new business? Rose, Casey?
Hi, yeah, Rose Casey, Department of English, Eberly. So just to clarify, this vote will not actually be secret. It will not actually be anonymous.
Rose, it's the same as the vaccine vote. We have to be able to verify that you are a senator. So if you're not able to be present face to face and verify your attendance in the virtual world, this is the only way that we can ensure that you are a senator.
I see. I did send an email asking whether it would be anonymous, and I am anxious to say this publicly, honestly, in a discussion like this. But quite frankly, I think that if we are voting on a no confidence vote, it should be anonymous. Given that it isn't, that might affect the outcome of a vote, which has been based on speaking with constituents. I am not voting on my behalf, but my name will be attached to something that my constituents are asking me to vote on, and I am untenured, and that makes me feel really uncomfortable. There is not an answer to this. I am not asking a question. I'm stating for the record because I am being brave and being a leader and speaking out, and I suspect because this has been an extremely quiet meeting, much more so than usual, that the only people who have spoken out are those who are against this particular motion, this resolution rather. I would just like to say for the record that I'm concerned that such a weighty vote is not actually confidential. I understand the reasons for that, but I find it concerning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Any other new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn? I don't want to come back. I'm just kidding. We're going to momentarily adjourn for 45 minutes. We're suspending. Thank you. It's a good thing I have lots of people here talking me through this. We are suspending the meeting. We will return in approximately 45 minutes. So around a little after 5 o'clock, we will return to the meeting and announce the vote. The link should be sending out.
We need to look at it briefly.
Okay, we need to review it to make sure that the resolution is correct. And then within the next 5 minutes, you should be receiving an email with the link. Hello and welcome back. So reporting out on the vote, we had 20 yes in favor of a vote of no confidence and 103 with the vote of no for the vote of no confidence. Please note that I will, as the Senate Chair, convey this information to the Board of Governors as requested at the bottom of the resolution. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your patience as we work through the voting. We appreciate it. And thank you for continuing to share everyone's voice. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? And Stan seconded. Thank you. Have a good evening.